Hi. My name is Kelly Hagan. I am the Adjunct Professional Development Coordinator. It's kind of a new position starting this year because we realized that, we rely so heavily on our adjuncts and really do appreciate them so much that it might be nice if we could try to find a way to communicate and even help accelerate any professional development that we could, that they might find helpful, that might be more support to them in the classroom, and perhaps just have a place that they can reference in e-community, which we'll talk about later, to come see a lot of this stuff rather than trying to find it everywhere or your coordinator trying to find it as well and nobody finding it. Okay? I'm fortunate in the sense that I kind of am in the unique position of, for one, I paid for all my own school and went to community college my first year of college, and secondly, I started off here as an adjunct. So I kind of got a taste of both worlds a little bit to give you the a general idea of where I was trying to come from when I started to look at, wow, what do I wish I had known then, and what do I even wish I knew now? You know what I mean? So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about a whole lot of different things. Hopefully you've signed your name, the sign-in sheet. There's several of them now out on the table. There was the table that was next to the table with the punch and the cookies and the water. Also, hopefully, you grabbed a ticket off that roll of tickets and you tore it in half and you put that other half of the ticket in that little basket, because later on, I'm going to draw numbers from that basket or somewhat of a raffle to be able to give away some free books that might be helpful or you just might enjoy or you can resell. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding. So, I think we're going to start now with Greg Feeney. Come on up, Greg. This is our Vice President of Academics and Workforce Development.
Hey. Welcome. On behalf of Dr. Julian and myself, as well as all of academics, and I might as well just throw the entire college in there, we are happy to have you here. So there are all kinds of lists and they vary in reasons on why to attend a community college or why a community college is a wonderful thing for students. And always in the top of those lists, any of the lists that I have seen, are faculty. And the reason for that is, quite simply, at least in description, is that community college faculty focus exclusively on teaching and on building that relationship and being very person-centered with students. So we know that faculty are one of our greatest assets. And some of you know that, or may know, that I started here as an adjunct faculty member back in the 90s. It seems just a few years ago, but here we are as time passes. And one of the things that interested me in the role right away was the relationship that I built with my colleagues, the full-time as well as part-time, and the relationship that I built with my students. I felt I was working at UK at the time, and compared to any of the other institutions that I had been at, is that the students here needed me more. And as special as I would like to think I am, it had nothing to do with me, it had to do with the faculty role. And that our students need good faculty. And so we are thrilled to have you here to help us reach that core mission of creating that positive student experience for our students in the classroom. I feel like in the past, we have done some things to support you. But this year, I feel like we are ramping it up. And it is my commitment, I'm relatively new in this role, but it is my commitment that you will continue to see evidence of us ramping up the support that we have for adjunct faculty and our faculty in general. Two specific things are going to demonstrate that. One role is that you've already heard of, and that's Kelly Hagan. So we are dedicating resources. That's a financial commitment that the college is having to providing this support for you. And so we expect to see, and I know we will with Kelly's leadership, great things out of that role. The second role is Barbara Elsie, who is right here in front. And she is working with distance learning, professional development, and support this next year. And so her role will be supporting all of our faculty in the college, but you are a strong part of that. And this is in addition to the work that Kevin Dunn is doing in his role with distance education, which you'll hear from him in just a bit. The third thing that I want to highlight is I know that many of you have taken advantage of this because I've seen you at this conference before, but I think it's 10 years ago or more already that we started what we call a Changing Classroom Cultures Conference. And we created this conference specifically for our adjunct faculty. And it's grown to be much more comprehensive than that. We now have attendance from across the state. We've even had attendance from faculty outside of the state of Kentucky. And we have some of our four-year institution faculty attending this conference. So that conference for you is free. And it's in March this year. Our dates are March 23rd and 24th. It's a two-day conference. It's free for you to attend. You'll see information and you'll hear from Kelly on this as we move throughout the semester. I think registration typically starts in December. We would love to see you there sharing your expertise in presenting, as well as taking advantage of what your colleagues have to share. If you are a coordinator, assistant dean, or dean, would you please stand up for me? All of these individuals, as well as myself, are here to support you. So if you need anything, please reach out to one of us, and we will do our best to get you what you need. Thank you for your work. Our support is further represented by the many areas of the college that we have here to support you and our students, many of which are going to present to you today, which is providing my transition to Veronica Miller, who is the Director of Disability Support Services. So again, welcome, and I hope you have a great year.
Not sure I brought enough brochures. If there aren't enough, let me know, and we can get some more out to you. But our office works with faculty and students who have disabilities to make sure those students have equal access to programs, services, and activities. We encourage students to come see us first so that we can collect documentation. Usually it's from a doctor or a psychologist that tells us about their disability, how it might affect them in the classroom, and then we will notify you about what accommodations you might need to make. A lot of the things that students need we can take care of, can make those arrangements outside the classroom so that you're not bothered by a lot of that. There's not a lot that's required. But the accommodation we provide most often is testing accommodation, where students might need additional time to process their information, or they might need a quiet place with fewer distractions. And so that's where I get to meet a lot of faculty when they bring tests over. If students come to you requesting accommodations, please refer them to us. We have an office on the Cooper campus. We have an office on the Leestown campus. We have a representative at Newtown. And then we'll travel to the other campuses. If you teach in Danville or Lawrenceburg, we'll come out there and meet with students. But that gives us an opportunity to meet with them, find out what they need, and then can let you know. I know some of our faculty in the past have worked in special education. And so one of the things I like to explain to parents and students, and also to faculty, is that while there are some similarities, there's also a lot of differences between special education laws and the Americans with Disabilities Act. So if you have any questions at all, please let us know. We'll be happy to answer those and help you in any way we can. I'd like to open it to questions if you have anything you want to ask me.
Ms. Miller, everything goes through you, right? If a student asks for some support, you got to get the okay through you first,
Please.
before we do any kind of older combinations. Anything that has to come through their plan.
That lets us document the disability, make sure it's legit, find out what they need, and then we'll let you know. Yeah. And I'm not the only person in the office. April Jeffries works with students who are deaf and hard of hearing. Teresa Slaughter works with students at Leestown, Danville, Lawrenceburg, and Georgetown. And I primarily work with students at Cooper, Newtown, and Winchester. If it's easier to contact me, that's fine, and then I can put you in touch with who you need to work with.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next, We have Becky Hart Stevens, the Associate Dean of Student Records. There she is, Becky.
Good afternoon. I'm here today to talk to you about a new process with online withdrawal process. It was new. It is to be new for fall 2017, but this keeps changing daily. How many were at my fall kickoff on Friday? Okay. It's changed since Friday. The rumor today is that the form, we would like for the form not to go live for fall. And those of you who were in the session on Friday probably agree that that's a good idea. Now, whether or not that will get approved, it's still unknown. So I still don't know whether we're going to have a form ready for next Monday or not. I was told last Tuesday on a conference call, of course, we're a system, so, we all have to agree, and that's kind of hard to do, but we were told that it was going live. They were putting it up on Monday, and I was like, I'm not ready for this form to go live. There's lots and lots and lots of questions with it, but if they're going to put it up there, we're going to use it. But then today, a student dean group is having some discussion and saying, hey guys, we don't think we're ready to go live with this form. So, watch for emails from me, from your coordinators, from your deans, to see when we go live. We could go Monday, this coming Monday, or we could go January. The form, as most of you have talked before with us, you know, if a student wants to drop a class, there's the paper form that they can do, and we also will take email drops, especially if it's an online class. We have a process of this. The new form that's coming out sometime is in the student account. So students would log into self-service. It would be available. If they could use their self-service account to drop the classes, like if we're in that add drop period, and self-service is available to them, then the form wouldn't be available to them. They would be directed to self-service. But if self-service is not available, which for a 16-week term, that happens like the fourth day of class, self-service goes down. So then the form would be available. They would submit the form. Before midterm, they submit the form. They're notified by email. A bunch of people are notified by email. It's processed by our office, completed, student is notified. At midterm, it requires permission. So there will be a email generated to the faculty member for permission. It's kind of a workflow process. There will be a piece that you will have to do as a faculty member, and that's what we don't know what that is. Hopefully it's something simple that's in your faculty center pages is what I'm hoping. But if you always, after midterm, if you don't care if a student drops your class after midterm, then you can set to always approve. If you don't want to approve after midterm and you always deny, you can set it to always deny. And then if you want to review each case by case, you can set it to that also. So there will be a process that you will have to do so that this works the way it should work. But more information coming. I was going to update web pages, take down things like tomorrow, but I'm not doing that now. I'm going to leave everything as is, and when I hear the final word, is it going to be fall? Is it going to be January? I'm praying for January. Hard as we're really just not ready for this.
What's the problem with, how can a form be that problematic?
Well, it's just we don't know. We haven't set up who's getting the emails that are generated. How does the faculty approve at midterm? How do you go in and say, yes, I'll prove everything, no, and we don't know all of those mechanics of it. And there was lots of questions at the Friday session, we had a page of questions. Just keep your eyes and ears open. This form is coming.
And so now, all you guys that have been with us for a while know that, you know, sometimes whenever you're feeling confused, we are too, okay? Not just you. It's a whole kind of faculty community thing. So, thank you, Becky. Thank you. All right. Next, we have Laura Lynch, Assistant Dean of Workforce Solutions.
Hi everybody, I'm Laura Lynch, Assistant Dean of Workforce Solutions, and I hope I have enough handouts. If not, it's on the web, so we'll see. What I want to do tonight is just tell you a little bit about what we do in Workforce Solutions that may be different than what you're doing where you're at. We work with business and industry. Currently, we're doing a project with Toyota, RJ Corman, Corning, Denyo. We work with all the major industries around, doing training with them. One of the things we just started this year is that we do workforce assessment. So an industry may need some type of training, not sure what it is, want to see what their skill level is. We do the entry-level testing for Smuckers and more than the bakery right now. So we're very involved in that. And we're trying to make this crossover with you to get your students involved in industry quicker and cooperative, like work-based learning. And just kind of make you aware of what we do here at the college. One of the things that we do is we provide certificate training for the business end at KU on site in the evening. So those students are actually at KU getting a certificate from here at the college. We also slot students into your classes. Last semester we had an HVAC class with 3 people in it. We slotted 14 people in it for business and industry. So just a really good connection. I'm also recruiting. So if anyone would like to do any teaching for us, we'd love to have you. Adjunct faculty, we really need you. And that sheet I gave you will kind of give you an overview. We do the continuing education, we have online learning, and then just a little bit about some of the general stuff that we do. One thing that's not on there is the Kentucky Work Ready Kentucky Scholarship that the governor signed into effect on June 29th. It's providing 32 free credit hours to students in construction, advanced manufacturing, healthcare and IT, business, logistics, business and IT. So if you're interested, I'll put them out on the table. Just another thing that students are going to ask you about, we have a banner web, on the website we have a banner ad that tells them a lot about it. There's no deadline on it. Yes, ma'am.
What's the name of that again? That's the one.
Work Ready Kentucky Scholarship. It's last-in money, so students will follow a step-by-step thing that's on the website. It's actually awarded by the KHEAA. We do not award it, we just provide the training. And it covers about 136 certificates or diplomas here at the college, so it's a good way for students to get their foot in the door.
So how to contact you about that? Is it on here?
If you you just contact Workforce Solutions, they'll put you in contact on the banner ad on the web. It has both my name and Clovis Perry who are handling those questions. There's not a deadline on it, so if they haven't applied for the fall semester or one of the shorter semesters in the fall, they could apply for spring. Great. I appreciate your time and attention. Remember, I'm recruiting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura. Okay, next we have Tammy Lyles, Academic Dean. She's going to be discussing upcoming moves.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. So you probably have noticed we're building a new building back here on Newtown. And if you've been to the Newtown campus, you haven't been there since May, it looks totally different. Totally different campus. So there's a lot of activity that's going on, and you're going to be asked lots of questions, I'm sure, by students and of what's happening. So the plan right now, and it could change, but the plan right now is that this building is on time. We should be moving, get possession of the building in November. And we'll have moving the science labs from Cooper into that building November, December, with classes starting there in January. Okay, so that will be all the science classes, anatomy, physiology, physics, chemistry. We will also have a new organic chemistry lab over there. We're really excited about that. Now, does that mean that there will not be any science left at Cooper? Absolutely not. We'll still have a few gen ed classes there that will hopefully meet the needs of the population of the students that are remaining. But our majors classes and that type of thing will be in our new building here. So we're really excited about it. The Leestown campus, beautiful out front, getting all kinds of greenery and new student plaza. You don't have to like dodge cars to get between buildings now. What's happening there is that in the manufacturing technology building, once that group has moved to Georgetown, we've got one other group that's going to be moving to the B building, and the manufacturing technology building will be renovated for allied health programs, so nursing. So nursing will be there, radiography will be there, and respiratory. Now, that was supposed to happen for next week. No. And may not happen even for January. But we do anticipate that radiography and respiratory will be there in January, and nursing will come along in the summer for fall of 28. That is the plan right now. So, any questions about the moves? Lots of things happening. Sure.
Yeah, the labs that are already here, are you planning on moving them over to the next building?
We still have a lab upstairs, and we're still working out the schedule with where things will be. So ideally, most everything will be in the new building, so that we get there.
I think the schedule, we have 121, 41.
Up here.
Yeah, still upstairs.
Yeah, on spring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
there you go. Again. Yeah.
Hi, Jamie. Is phlebotomy going to stay in the same N? Are we moving to B as well?
Phlebotomy will stay in the medical assisting area.
In the
Yeah,
area.
yeah,
Okay,
and we're
thank
going to
you.
manufacturing, and they're getting moved. It's a domino effect type thing. So the labs for just the general A&P labs and the medical assisting labs are supposed to be ready by the middle of August or 1st of September, and they will move as soon as they're ready. It's exciting.
Thanks, Tammy. Okay, next for verifying the roster, we have Dr. Kevin Dunn, Assistant Dean of Learning Technology and Distance Education.
All right, so in PeopleSoft, you know that after the first few weeks of class, if you've been an adjunct before, you know that you have to verify the roster, right? For no-shows. Are there new adjuncts here? Are there old adjuncts here? Old mixture, not old in years, old in knowledge and experience, right? So if you're like me, I had been on the naughty list and have done no-shows and it didn't show, and I had been on the naughty list and got yelled at and had to go do it again. Anybody had to be on the naughty list before? It happens to most of us. Even though you know for a fact you went in there and did it, you still get on the naughty list. So what you do is you go to the faculty center. This is the new main page for PeopleSoft now. So if you want to go to the old home, you can just click on Classic Home. If you want the new one, you just go to Faculty Center. By the way, I didn't introduce myself because Greg already stole my thunder, but Kevin Dunn, I'm with the Distance Learning. If you ever need anything with distance learning, give me a yell. I'll try to help you out any way I can. First thing you want to do is make sure you're in the right semester. Go away. Make sure you're in the right semester right here. Fall 2017 is hopefully where we're going to be at right now. And if you click on, do you point at the little check mark right here? It says no-shows. If you click on that, and it's going to pop up, it's going to say, I don't have a finalized roster. And I'm a little scared to click on finalized roster now because sometimes if you don't have a final roster, like people are added to it, and you do it before they were added, sometimes they don't ever show up, and you have to get Becky to go do some magic on her whatever she does. So anyway, normally you're going to hit update roster, okay? And you update your roster, and this will populate with your list of students. You will go in then and pick the students that didn't show up, right? And click no shows. And then make sure there's two things you got to make sure of. There's a button right here, a little check mark that says the no shows have been recorded. Check that. Hit save roster. And then here's what I recommend you do. After you do that, so hopefully you won't be on the naughty list next time, go up here, and I usually just go back to my schedule and then go back to no-shows again and make sure that that box is grayed out. This box right here, the no-shows have been recorded and the roster is complete, that'll be grayed out to where you can't do it anymore. So if it saved it, you can't do it. If it didn't save it, which sometimes it happens, you'll have to do it again. So hopefully that helps. One of the things that's key for distance learning, and especially if you do fully online classes, used to be ages ago, as long as they logged in, they were here. We count them as present. Nowadays, it has to be an assignment completed by the student, not by the faculty. Well, you can do assignment too if you want to do. The student has to do an assignment, and they have to complete an actual assignment, not just a pretend assignment like, hey, log in and you're here. It has to be something, whether it's a discussion board post, introducing themselves, that's what a lot of people do in online classes. It can be a syllabus quiz, which is also a good one to do. That's probably the two most common ones. Although you might pop quiz them in the first week or so of class, it's fine too. It's whatever you want to do. It's up to you. But once they do that, then you record. Once Becky will send out emails, of course, saying, "Hey, report your no-shows, and then report them at that time if they haven't completed that assignment. And then about 2 days later, you'll get emails from that student that you reported no-show saying, hey, I'm not in your class anymore. Why'd you drop me? It's like, well, you didn't do that first assignment like I told you 10 times to do. Anybody experience that? I experience that all the time. So anyway, so just know that they do have to actually do an assignment, not just attend or not just log into class. That's the biggest thing I had to do. I'm working on a ton of different like training resources, like one page, like web page training where it shows you click here, do that, go here, that kind of stuff. I will send those links out to your coordinators and get the coordinators to then send out to pretty much everybody once I have them up. Hopefully I have them up this week. I'm praying, cross my fingers. But it'll be up this week and it'll be done. I'm going to introduce somebody that's also working with me. Barbara Elsie is working with the PD in distance learning. She's going to show you just something, and then we're going to hijack the agenda, and then yeah, do you have a question?
Can I just make a clarification?
Yeah.
Because I've ran into this before. You can have no shows.
Oh yeah.
And you still
You still have to say,
the no shows
yeah.
have been reported.
That's a good point.
No shows.
That's exactly right. Even though you may have everybody in class showing up, you still have to report no-shows as having no-shows. Exactly right. I'm glad you said that. Because people think no-shows, that means I don't have to report them if they're not there. You still have to say it's reported. It's for financial aid. Yeah.
I just want to give a little scenario because I'm sure that happens to a lot of people. A student contacts the instructor, says, hey, I'm out of the country, I'll be back in 2 weeks, which is after the no-show reporting date. What are they supposed to do? Wait for the student?
If you didn't hear that, what if the student emails you and says, I'm out of the country, I won't be back for 2 weeks? My thinking is why they sign up for class. But anyway, what do? Do you record them as a no-show or not?
Drop them.
It's really technically, financial aid side, they would say drop them. That's it. Me as a faculty, I'm a soft heart. If I know for a fact that they're going to come in there and do their work, I might kind of just let them fly. The bad thing is, I would go ahead and do a no-show because if they do show back up and then they don't do anything, like they say, I'll be there. I don't know if you had got over promises like that before. I'll be there, and they don't actually show up. Then it looks bad on you because then you got to go to Becky and go, will you please drop the student as a no-show because they made promises they didn't fulfill and I believe them. So it's probably best to do as a no-show, yes.
Most countries have email.
Yeah.
You can email an assignment.
Yeah, you can probably work around something, yeah. Especially if you're in an online class, they have no excuse in that case. But if they're on an on-campus class, and I know you do a lot of labs and stuff, there's, they're going to miss labs. That's an issue.
I have something, I have a lot of adjuncts, so. If an instructor does not report the no-shows, they will send an email to the student, but they do not say which instructor did not report them. So they will send an email to all of their instructors.
That's true.
So if you've done it and you get that email, don't panic thinking I did that, because it may not be you. You can reply to the student and say, I did it if you want.
Now, if you get an email from your assistant dean or your coordinator, and you get an email from them, it may be specifically you. If you get an email from your students, they don't know.
Could you explain again why it's so important to report these no-shows?
Yeah. She wanted me to mention why it's so important to report them. Hugely important. It's return to Title IV. and it all has to do with financial aid. So if you don't report them as no-shows, what happens is they basically are in the class, but they never show up. And then we have to end up returning money that they get a failing grade at the end or whatever. We end up as a college have to recoup that funding somehow. And it's gone through collection agencies and it goes through all kinds of hassle. It's easier if you just do no-shows and get them off your roster right away. Also, if you're doing online classes, if they are from another college, there are some colleges in KCTCS that even though you report them as no-shows, they don't actually drop them from the class. So if you're doing a fully online class and you report them as no-shows, at Bluegrass, we drop them. That completely remove them from the roster. There are some, I can't think of them right off the top of my head, but I know of a few colleges in KCTCS that just leaves them in the class. And I guess they deal with financial aid, or I guess they want to incur money that they don't have to. But whatever, I don't know why. Who knows? But they won't remove them from the class. So just be aware that if you're doing an all online class, other colleges may not drop them. That's the other hand.
This may or may not be the right time to ask this question, but every time I try to print my roster off, it prints half of it and does not print the second half.
The easiest way to get your roster, if you go to My Schedule and go to this little people thing you're here, and there's an export button.
Where is it? Okay.
Right there. See that little button right there? It says download and roll student to Excel.
Okay.
You can do whatever you want to with them now.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. See, I just taught you a trick. Isn't that cool? That's one of those short little training things I'm putting up too. So
The same
yeah,
thing
you
with
can
the
always
grade
put
roster. The time for grade roster is the same thing.
same thing. Yeah. And there's also, when you do grade roster, there's also a print-friendly version, I believe, at the bottom. Yeah, if it's a really long one, it won't work very well. You can still do export it to Excel. That's what I always do is export.
And this around takes a while.
If there is a mistake and you drop them, no show,
Right.
they call and they want to get back in, how do they get back?
Contact your coordinator, and they'll yell at you. No. Contact your coordinator, and if it's possible, they will contact the student records, and there is a possibility to get it back in. Because I've accidentally done no shows on the wrong person too. They can put it back in, they don't like to put it back. So it's possible. You have to argue with your coordinator, speak it out, or fight it out, or whatever you got to do. Yeah. Contact your coordinator. Anything else?
Something I think they should know though, when you try to be really careful and make sure they're right, because
Yes.
it's an audit thing for us.
Right.
So it does look bad
Yeah,
overall.
it does. It does. Yeah, they have to backdate things and post-date them. So be really careful before you hit save. Just double check that you've got the right person. I usually look through that list like 4 times before I actually hit save, just to make sure. And hopefully you won't have that many, right? Everybody will show up, but before you can hit the check mark. Just don't hit save until you're absolutely sure that it's right. Okay. Cool. Thank you. I just exited people, so I'm sorry.
No, I don't need to. Hello, everybody. I am Barbara Elsie, as Kevin said, and I'm going to sort of be your online technological guru, and I'm doing a lot of professional development for online learning, but a lot of that falls over into, of course, the traditional classroom, just using technology in the classroom. So I want to show you the Teaching and Learning Center webpage, and on that page is something very important to you as you're starting classes next week. It's kind of in an odd location and it's kind of hard to find its way to, so I'm going to put the website up here so you can find it easily. I am asking IT this week to move it so it's very easy to access it, but right now you got to do a lot of clicking to find it. So I'll first just bring it up, and then I will put it up here on the board because it's not all that easy to see the website URL from where you're sitting. And of course I had to bring it with me because that's how complicated it is. Okay, so on this Teaching and Learning Center webpage, is a list of times when I will be at certain campuses in the open labs for you to ask questions about PeopleSoft and Blackboard. If you're having trouble getting your roster, if you're having trouble putting Blackboard available for students, whatever it might be during the first week of classes, this is a list of where I will be at what times. So feel free to walk in, ask me questions, whatever time you are available. If not on the campus at a time when you can get to me, feel free to email me. I'm going to put that on the board as well. I saw a question over here.
I see that all of those times are during normal business hours, 8 to 5. Is there 8 to 5 hours somewhere?
Somewhere for evening times. I can do that, yes.
I imagine that most of us work 8 to 5, so, you know.
Right. And the reason I didn't do that is I can't be on every campus in the evening at the same time. But I could put something on some of our main campuses like Cooper and Newtown at night if that will help. All right. Is there, well, I won't ask if there's a particular time, but if you can't come in at some of these times and you need some help, email me. It could be that I can just come to the campus at the time that you need that help. I'm here to help you, so just let me know. All right, so let me write up my email and this very odd email address for this, or URL for this. Humanities, you're in 201. Can I erase this?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't forget, humanities, 201, everybody.
And I'll put it back up too. like that.
As I said, I'm going to try to get this link so that it's easier to access. But right now, if you push on teaching and learning on the faculty webpage, you will get to the KCTCS Teaching and Learning Center, which won't help you. I'm going to get this fixed for us. I'm sorry, what did you say?
Could you send what you're writing up there around to everyone?
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're on the home page and you just click on academics and then the teaching and learning center.
I'm going to show your coordinator's campus.
Yes, it will. It will get you there. It just takes a little bit more clicking around. Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you. Okay, guys, so just to kind of break it up a little bit, we're halfway through. I talk fast, so we'll be okay. I'm going to draw a couple of raffle tickets, okay, just to make sure I have your attention. Uh-oh, what? All right, guys, so now we're going to talk just very briefly about the KCTCS mandatory trainings. The reason they're mandatory is because they have to be done, okay? So when you get, just throwing it out there in case there's any concern. So the reason you get these harassing emails periodically from your area coordinators or program coordinators is because it's legal. We have to have them done. And you're not the only ones getting harassed. Full-time people getting harassed too all the time. So please, there are at least these two. One talking about looking at existing employees required to sign the following policy each year. Has to do with harassment-free workplace. That begins somewhere around November 4th. Second one, Violence Against Women Act training. It has to do with watching, sometimes you'll have these little video snippets, learning some information about what constitutes different types of, be it a sexual harassment or violence against women. So it usually takes about, this one's a little longer. It can take up to 30 minutes to review it all, and then you have to take, answer the questions accordingly. For some, it might be a little longer. Please. That's what I'm thinking. She's saying 30 to 45 minutes at least. So we're looking somewhere around September is when you'll probably see this introduced. So please be looking for that. Get that done You'll get reminders from your coordinators, okay? See, e-community. E-community, hopefully we're going to have a whole lot of stuff in there, and I'm going to show you some of that stuff briefly. With e-community, it's a really excellent way for adjuncts to be able to communicate with each other, to be able to even give me an idea, because I'll be there a whole lot posting things, as well as just giving you different things to review that might be helpful in the classroom or even with students. So let me see. There we go. So that's how you get on. If you look at joining e-community, it's in Blackboard. You're going to click on e-community at the top of the course. In your Blackboard shell, it's going to be up at, I'll show you in a second. Organizational search box, type BCTC Adjunct. Then it will show BCTC 8888 Adjunct Community 101. I can send this to the area coordinators. They may already have it, but I'll resend it, and they can send it out to you guys. That might be more helpful. And then you will see a drop-down menu beside where it'll say BCTC Adjunct Community 101. You'll click enroll, or you'll see enroll. Click enroll. That's it. Click on submit. And then you'll be in there. Here are some of the things that my hope is you would see. What I already have together for you guys is, let's see, I'll have some different information in one place that might be helpful. First, we're going to have adjunct development. Here, if you're looking at using things in the classroom, be it student engagement, diversity and inclusion, faculty development, online teaching, different teaching tips, as well as if you have a difficult student in the classroom and so forth. None of this really is to take the place of you talking about any of this with your coordinator, because they're going to be the one to support you the best and hopefully be able to help you the most. But if you just kind of feel stuck and you need a reference, hopefully that'll provide some reference points for you. I'm also very open to hearing what you guys need. So if you find that you're in the classroom or you're going over information and you're kind of stuck, or you're thinking it would really be helpful to know how to handle this or do something differently, not saying I'll always know, I'm just saying I'll find out, okay? And then I'll be able to find that information and make sure you can access it, put it in a place where it'll be really easy to access, like eCommunity. Any questions so far?
Can one of our students accidentally find this and enroll?
No, they shouldn't be able to, no. Because when we're looking at our Blackboard shells, we have our list of classes that we're teaching. I will double check and make sure that they're not able to, but even if so, there's not really anything that they couldn't see that I'm aware of right now. I mean, if they want to learn, if they're difficult, how to handle themselves, make my job easier. So let's see, what else? Another thing that we'll be talking a little, well, we won't actually be talking more about, but I wanted to put it in a place that might be a little more helpful. You actually have an adjunct faculty handbook. I knew we had one, but I don't think I always knew where to find it or what it might be, but now here we go. So it goes through everything, what's expected if you're a new adjunct. Has a whole table of content, text, looking at all kinds of different informations. Well, that's the wrong college one, sorry. I pulled together all kinds of different things when I was doing this, so that's one of my reference points. But I'll get yours, that might be helpful. So here we go, let me see. Not that one, it would be here. Let's see. Get to it, that's the wrong one. Let's get to here, since right now I've got 5 different things open, okay? And then I'll find that in a sec.
Kelly, if you go back, I think it was on the corrections too.
No, that's just where I was going through it and the things that need to be changed. Was it right above it?
Just as correction.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Yeah, it's not with it. That just is what where we need to change some things when I went through it. That was all. Thank you, though. I need all the help I can get. Okay, so when we know a lot of you guys end up teaching at different types of extended campuses. So you'll have a folder, will say campus directors and coordinators, and this will address, you have to get access to buildings, okay? Let's see, there's nothing.
That's how you're gonna be here.
I'm sorry?
You gotta change Rob Knight. Yeah, Rob Knight's not with us anymore.
That'd be another correction then, wouldn't it, for that? Thank you, okay. That, campus hours. Emergency contacts. You know, hopefully you'll never need them, but I just think that's a really good thing to just have, you know, right there with you. Be it you carry it with you, you have it in your phone, whatever. Just a good idea to have that. Here are your extended campus directors and who's in charge, okay? Danville, Lawrenceburg, Leestown, Winchester, and then of course at Cooper and Newtown it's a little easier. You know, lots of people are always here. Let's see. And then if you ever just need to get in touch with any coordinator, okay? Here we go, be it your program or somebody told you such and such coordinator may have it, I'll get back to you. You might go, you know what, if you don't care, I can call them because I've got this list. If your coordinator's okay with that.
Spelled Karen's name wrong in her.
I didn't type that, I downloaded it. So I can't take credit for it, but it's a
Got an L in
beautiful
there in your last
organizational
name.
piece. Okay, so let's see.
Blackboard.
Here's basic. This is another area you guys will have, well, we were looking at that one, the adjunct basic info. And here today, we're at the adjunct orientation. This is where we have I have some of the agendas, which you have them, but if you want a copy, I can make sure your coordinators already have them with the rooms. I sent it around before. But if they're anything like me, it might be lost or somewhere they don't know right now because it's busy. And so I can resend that. Okay. So, well, because I can't find our own adjunct handbook, the adjunct faculty handbook actually is under faculty resources if you go to the BCTC webpage. And I send it to my new adjuncts, and I think I've even sent it to our existing adjuncts who have been with us for a while. But it's really, really helpful because it has the whole table of contents. It also looks at what you need to do at the beginning of each semester. So it's really helpful as a reference point. But it's going to be on the BCTC webpage, and it can be, you can look under faculty resources. There's also where it looks at adjunct resources. So if you have any questions or you'd like to find that or you can't find that, please let me know, or I'm sorry, let your coordinator know. And then they can send it to you, or I can make sure they have it so they can send it to you, okay? All right, let's see. Future adjunct professional development opportunities. Guys, I'll do what I can, but I would really appreciate any input you may have. Let me know what you need. Because, you know, I have maybe some ideas, but you guys are going to be the experts in this. So whatever you feel like would be helpful to know, how to deal with difficult students, who should you report if there happens to be some kind of sexual harassment or some concern you have, if some guy or girl broke up with their boyfriend or girlfriend and now they're being stalked on campus. It's a shame James Chambers isn't here right now, but he is the main guy, and you would learn a little bit more about that, especially when you take those online trainings that you have to take at the beginning of the semester and once again at the end of this fall semester. So, any questions? Okay. So, now here's what we're doing next. In just a second, I've got all this written up on the board of where you're supposed to go to after here according to your area or division. I'm also going to put this up here very quickly. Let's see. And there are also the rooms that you can go to now and meet with your area coordinators and continue the learning. So anyway, thank you guys so much. This has been such a large crowd. It's fantastic. Thanks.